What is up, YouTube? Dots Gaming here, and today I'm bringing you guys my Stamina Dragonknight PvP build for the Elder Scrolls Online, and I'm calling this build the Dragonborn. So this is the build that I'm currently using on my Stamina Dragonknight for PvP. I'm going to be showing you guys two setups, the setup that I use for CP PvP, as well as the setup that I use for no CP, as I do change one gear set, and I do change one skill. Now, this is not an original build by any means. This is the most staple Stamina Dragonknight build on the face of the planet. I'm just making this video today to show you guys what I use and what how I have it set up. But this build is really, really staple. I'm not the original creator of it. This has been used by stamDKs for patches upon patches. But again, I'm just bringing the video here today to show you guys, how I have things enchanted, skills I'm using and stuff. How specifically I have my DK set up, because I've been getting a ton of questions about it on my stream and in Discord, etc. So let's move right into it. The first gear set that we're going to be using is Bloodspawn. Bloodspawn is the Stamina DK monster set, as far as I'm concerned. It is just so good for PvP. Every piece of it is perfect for stamDK. The line of stam recovery, thank you. Ultimate generation, aka more sustain and more ultimates for more damage, thank you. And increases your physical and spell resistance by over 6k for 6 seconds when you take damage, and this effect can occur once every 6 seconds. It's just good on literally all fronts for stamDK, and it was never a question that I was going to use Bloodspawn on my stamDK. We also have 5 pieces of 7th Legion. 7th Legion, again, just a great set for stamDK. And when you take damage, you have a 10% chance to gain 483 weapon damage for 5 seconds, heal for 1344, and this can occur once every 2 seconds, in addition to a line of weapon damage, health recovery, and weapon critical. So when you play this build, you want to be up in the fight, in the fray, and you can basically, as long as you're in a fight, you can basically keep easily 100% uptime on this set, because of the fact that it's when you take damage, you have a 10% chance. It goes for 5 seconds and has a 2-second cooldown. So you can basically keep 100% uptime on this fairly easily while you're in combat. The heal is really, really nice as well. Adds to your tick heals, adds to your hots that you use on the build. And it's just a very staple stamDK PvP gear set. It's just incredibly good. And then finally, no surprise to anybody, we are pairing this with Fury. We have a line of health, a line of stamina, a line of weapon damage, and when you take crit damage, your weapon damage is increased by 29 for 6 seconds, stacking up to 25 times. This set gives you some of the, I believe it's the most weapon damage you can get from a set. It is an incredible amount of weapon damage. But between Fury and 7th Legion, when I have everything procced out, I believe my weapon damage peaks at around 5.2k. And we are in heavy armor as well. So that's really, really high weapon damage for a heavy armor build. So very, very good set. Again, Fury and 7th Legion has been used by stamDKs for patches, and for good reason. It's just a very, very potent gear combination. The sets just work super well together. In terms of enchants and everything, we are using all impen on the body. We are doing 3 prismatics and 4 stamina enchants on the little pieces. For our jewelry, we're doing 2 robust and 1 infused. We have 1 weapon damage, 1 stamina recovery, and the fuse is reduced stam cost. We have a Nirnhoned front bar with a weapon and spell damage enchant, a Nirnhoned back bar with a poison enchant, and we have reinforced stamina shield. Now, when you go into no CP, you want to change Fury out for Hunding's Rage or Veiled Heritance. Now, I've used Fury in no CP, and at first, my reasoning for trying Fury and no CP was, okay, even if Fury only stacks up 50%, it's still as good as like a set like Veiled Heritance. It's still better than Hunding's Rage. Fury is good for no CP by that logic. But in practice, it really isn't, because you do way more kiting in no CP, because fundamentally you take more damage because you don't have your red CP to act for all that mitigation. So because you have to do more kiting, your Fury stacks are way more likely to drop off. So if you do have to kite to heal yourself back up and those Fury stacks drop off, you now have to wait to stack all that weapon damage back up again. Not to mention the fact that you're not going to be crit as frequently, so those stacks are going to take longer to build up. So honestly, a set like Hunding's Rage or Veiled Heritance is just way better for Fury, way better. Shout out for Thogard for recommending Hundings as well. I was originally going to just try Veiled Heritance, but you know, I was kind of ignoring Hundings, but he's like, trust me, Hundings is fine. So I just chucked Hundings on it, and it actually works really, really well. So, boom, Hundings Rage. Really, really, really good set. Again, same thing, though. We're 2 robust, 1 weapon damage, 1 stam recovery, 1 reduced stam cost. You know, still Nirnhone. Like, nothing changed. Nothing changed with the traits, the enchants, and everything. I just literally 1-for-1 replaced Fury with Hundings Rage. Again, Veiled Heritance is also a very good option, but I didn't have it for, like, my weapons and jewelry, so I just got it crafted for me. Now, if you want to have, like, the optimal gear locations, I would recommend actually having 7th Legion for your jewelry and weapons. It'll be way easier to swap out body pieces of Fury and Hundings, but I already had 7th Legion in my bank to begin with, so I ended up just going with jewelry and weapons. But ultimately, that's up to you. Just maintain the 5 pieces on both bars. In terms of skills, we are using Venomous Claw. Very, very potent dot. So it deals instantaneous damage and then poison damage over 10.5 seconds, and then it increases its damage every 2 seconds every time it ticks. It's just a really, really good dot. We also have Noxious Breath. So Noxious Breath is going to, again, deal instantaneous poison damage, deal more poison damage over 10 seconds, and then is our Major Fracture debuff. Very, very good skill. Again, these skills are also super, super cheap. 610 stamina at 1425. Really good for the stamDK. Now, also, I just realized I didn't cover weapon choice on the front bar. You're going to want to use a battle axe. You're going to want to use a battle axe for the bleed. I really have no surprise to anybody that I enjoy dot damage, so that's why I chose to go with the axe for the extra bleed pressure. We also went with Executioner. Executioner is our execute. I personally like this more than Reverse Slice. I'd rather have the extra execute damage on a single target to make sure that they're bursted down, as opposed to that bit of splash damage on targets within that range. So I prefer to use Executioner, but if you like Reverse Slice, go ahead and use it. We also have Volatile Armor, which is our major resistance buff. Returns damage back, and then it also gives another dot on top of the dots that we have. Granted, it is a magic damage dot, but still, it's another dot to add to the build, nevertheless. We are also using Rally. I was originally using Forward Momentum here because we are in a heavy armor build. We do have wings on our back bar, and originally I was still using Forward Momentum because I didn't want to rely solely on wings for my snare removal. But I tested out Rally, and it worked really well. I actually was able to manage my Magicka okay. I was able to move around just fine because the heals from Rally I found were just super nice. It was super, super nice to have that Rally burst heal on top of all the other tick healing that we have in the build. So I really enjoyed it. If you have a lot of trouble managing your maximum Magicka though and holding on to that Mag pool, I'd recommend using Forward Momentum here. Your heals are going to be slightly worse, but you'll have a little bit better movement. So it's really up to you whether or not you want more healing or better movement. It's your call there. I chose to go with Rally. I've used Forward Momentum, though. It works really, really well. So I'll leave that up to you guys, and it's ultimately your call. I am using Take Flight. I'm not going to sin and use Dawnbreaker on a Dragonknight. We are using the big Leap, dude. Dunking on kids. Leap is just a really good skill, man. 110 ultimate. Looks badass. You launch across the map. You deal damage and stun on target. It's going to get buffed the next patch because you'll actually be able to hit this thing, which is super nice. People won't be able to outrun it, but I just prefer Take Flight over Dawnbreaker. Dawnbreaker's a great option. If you like it, go ahead and use it, but I wouldn't feel like I'm playing a DK if I wasn't using Leap. Back bar, we have Heroic Slash. Heroic Slash is our snare, 60% snare for 4 seconds. Minor Maim. Minor Maim is just amazing. 15% damage reduction on a target is just amazing. So their damage, 15% off the top, 12 seconds. That's a really, really long duration for Minor Maim. It's a really good skill. And you also get Minor Heroism and granting you 1 ultimate every 1.5 seconds for 9 seconds. And also because we are a Nord, if you combine Minor Heroism plus the Nord passives plus Blood Spawn, we have a really, really good ultimate generation. And for a Dragonknight, that directly translates into Sustain. We are also using Fragmented Shield. So Fragmented Shields gives us a basically negligible heal, but that's not why we use it. We use it for the major mending, increasing our healing done by 25% for 5.4 seconds. It basically directly coincides with the duration from Vigor. So you pop Fragmented Shield, hit a Vigor, your entire Vigor is buffed by 25%, which is really, really awesome. This also gives you Minor Brutality from the Earthen Heart passive. So it's just an incredibly good skill for stamDK in open world. Vigor is our big hot. Don't need to say much more about it. Reverb Bash is our stun. I freaking love Reverb, dude. It's so good. I know people can dodge it and it can miss, but Major Defile is just a wonderful thing to have. It also deals some decent damage, so you can basically smack someone in the face with this shield, stun for 3 seconds, and they have Major Defile on them. So with all your dots and everything running, you hit Reverb and either go into like a Corrosive or a Leap or something, you're going to be dealing a hell of a lot of damage. You also have a Reflective Plate. Reflective Plate is just so good, dude. Being able to reflect the projectiles back is just amazing. And this is also our form of snare and immobilization immunity. Be very... You have to be smart with Reflective Plate, Fragmented Shield, and I don't mean to be on my werewolf bar, and Volatile Armor. You have to be very, very smart. If you overcast these, you're gonna have no Magicka, so be smart with the casting of this. Just want to extend that warning. If you do have trouble with this, I'd recommend Tri-Stat Pots. I do use a different potion myself, but I choose to use Reflective Plate as my main movement source, so, you know, if you have trouble with your maximum Magicka, use Tri-Stat Pots. But if not, then, you know, just use this as is. Corrosive Armor is our backbar ultimate. Corrosive Armor is so damn good, dude. Limiting incoming damage to 3% of your maximum health, deals poison damage in an AoE, but your attacks ignore all physical resistance. If you use Corrosive Armor, once you have all of your dots up, and then you go into Corrosive Armor, light attack, reverb, bash into, you know, heroic slash light attack, heroic slash bash, that's just a ton of damage, dude. Bash canceling, especially, you know, bash canceling is really good to begin with, but bash canceling with Corrosive Armor up is really, really good. Your bashes hit super hard with Corrosive Armor up. So if you light attack, skill, bash cancel with Corrosive, you are going to be dealing a ton of damage. So again, wait till you get all those dots rolling, pop Corrosive, go into your reverb, heroic slash, you know, when the target starts getting low, Executioner, light attack, Executioner, bash cancel. Really, really good ultimate. I used to use the shield ult on the back bar, but once I learned how to actually properly use Corrosive, I found it to be way, way better. In terms of other stuff, we are using the Warrior Mundus Stone and Dubious Cameron Throne buff food. In terms of our potions, I actually use a ton of potions on this guy. My main potion is crit pots. I use Major Savagery, Health Restoration, and Stamina Restoration. A secondary potion that I use, specifically if I'm running away, is Immovability Pots. So this is Major Expedition, immunity to knockback, and Stamina Restoration. And then I also have Tri-Stat Pots, so it gives you Health, Magicka, and Stand Back. So if you're having a lot of trouble managing your wings, this is going to be especially your potion of choice. So I believe that covers all of that stuff. So let's move into CP. 32 points into Blessed for the extra healing, 72 into Mastered Arms for that direct damage, 37 into Thaumaturge because we run a ton of dots in the build, 37 into Precise Strikes, 36 into Piercing, 56 into Mighty, 61 into Ironclad, 53 into Resistant, 44 into Thick Skin, 43 into Hardy, 37 into Elemental Defender, and 32 into Quick Recovery to pair with our Blessed. 56 into Warlord, 16 into Bashing Focus, 75 into Mooncalf, 27 into Arcanist, 40 into Tumbling, and 56 into Shadow Ward. Stat-wise, if we're looking at our stats here, we have 21, I believe this health goes up to about 28k in Cyrodiil, 11.4k max mag, 32k stam on the back bar, with 31k stam on the front bar, 549 magic recovery, 1373 stamina recovery, 2466 unbuffed weapon damage front bar, and 2304 unbuffed back bar. But again, our weapon damage mainly comes from the procs on our gear sets. Unbuffed, we have 22k spell resist and 19k physical resist, as well as 3k crit resist with an unbuffed weapon critical of 25%. In terms of general rotation, for me, when I first started, stamDK was super weird. Okay, I'm going to be honest. stamDK for me was very, very weird when I first started. It took me a little bit to get used to how it actually plays. But once I got used to it, I've been having an amazing time. So it should go without saying, you want to maintain Volatile Armor, you want to maintain Rally. Those are just your bread and butter things that you need to maintain. On your target, you want to maintain Venomous Claw, Noxious Breath, Minor Maim from Heroic Slash, and if you have the stamina, you obviously want to keep up Defile from Reverb. You also want to make sure that you use Fragmented Shield at the very least every 20 seconds to continue to get your minor brutality. So basically what you want to do is when you go into a fight, okay, you're all buffed up, you go into a fight, you start off with Heroic Slash to get the snare up, get the Minor Maim up, and get your Minor Heroism rolling, because that also plays into your sustain a lot. Once you get that up, you want to go back to your front bar, apply Venomous Claw, and apply Noxious Breath. So you have your snare up, you have your heroism up, you have your dots up. Also, you know, if you have the magicka for it and you haven't applied volatile in a while, you can also apply volatile to get that dot on them. So people a lot of times go, okay, now what? I have all that stuff up, that's great. Now what do I do? You actually want to go back to your back bar, okay? And you want to hit them with a reverb, go into leap. That should take them down to below 50%, and then you start hitting them with Executioner. Now, the question that I kind of struggled with myself when I first started and that I've been getting on my stream is, what do I do if, let's say, I don't have leap and they're not below 50%? What do I do? I have all my dots up. What do I do? You want to, in my opinion, what I've been doing is if you have the stamina for it, you can light attack, animation cancel with Heroic Slash. Heroic Slash is actually going to basically kind of act as your spammable. But if you don't have the stam, or if your stam is, you know, getting low, heavy attack cancel your Heroic Slash. That's it. Heroic Slash is basically the spammable. Trust me, guys, there is a surprising amount of power on your S&B bar. There's a surprising amount of power. Like, don't, you know, I know a lot of times people get into that whole mindset of like, it's my back bar, I need to be doing most of my damage on my front bar, but a surprising amount of your power really does sit on that back bar with Heroic Slash. So, you know, assuming that your dots don't need to be refreshed, you know, just heavy attack into Heroic Slash, you know, get those dots refreshed, and then again, heavy attack into Reverb Bash, go into your front bar, leap, you know, that's the basic kind of thing, where you want to maintain your dots, maintain Heroic Slash, and then you basically want to use Reverb as an opening for you to start dealing your damage, hit leap, go into Executioner. Your dots are going to be taken away on them, and they're going to be fading away fast. It's incredibly good. I already kind of explained how you want to use Corrosive earlier. Make sure you have all your dots rolling, and especially Bash Cancel when you have Corrosive up. Your bashes are going to deal a ton of damage. Defensively, the big thing for you to do, obviously, is you want to hit Fragmented first. You want to go into Vigor and then refresh your rally. That's going to be a shit ton of healing on yourself. So that is basically the main way to play defensive. Obviously, you want to use Reflective Plate if someone's sniping in your face or if you need to move around. But that's it, guys. stamDK PvP build. Oh, I just realized I did not cover what change I make for my skills in no CP. Just realized I didn't cover that. In no CP, I actually take out Fragmented Shield, and I put in Critical Rush on my front bar and move Volatile Armor to my back bar. Why do I do this? The reason that I do this is because, for me at least, I found trying to maintain 3 Magicka skills inside of no CP was incredibly difficult. I found it really, really hard. And, like, yeah, I could use Tri-Stat Pots, but I'd rather like use my Savagery Pots than use Tri-Stat Pots because it's a shit ton of damage. And also because, like I did say earlier, people are doing more kiting in no CP because fundamentally everyone is squishier. Being able to crit rush to them and actually continue that damage and have that movement is very, very important. So I would recommend using Crit Rush over Fragmented Shield in no CP. I personally found that, you know, with proper positioning, you can really just lean on Reflective Plate, Vigor, and Rally, and you don't necessarily need the Mending. I know some people might say, you know, well, where is your Minor Brutality coming from? You're going to just want to try to, you know, save up for a Corrosive whenever you can, and you'll get your Minor Brutality from that. So, if you do, though, really not like having to wait for Minor Brutality here, you could also feel free to take off Reverb and use Fossilize. But again, that's going to put a little bit more of a strain on your Magicka pool, and you also do not have the Brutality. But now, that's basically it, guys. stamDK PvP build. You know, again, very staple build. It's been around for patches. It's very, very good. When I decided I wanted to play my stamDK, and as 2H and SMB, there was no choice, or there was no thought in my mind that this is exactly what I was going to wear. It's just a really staple build, really, really fun, and I like it very, very much. So if you guys enjoyed my coverage of this build, I'd appreciate it if you left a like on it. Any questions about it, please leave a comment below. And for more great ESO content like this, please hit that sub button as well as the bell to keep notifications on. So thank you all so much for stopping by today. I very much appreciate it. As always, I'm Dots Gaming, and I'll see you all in the next one.